And then the next moment was, and it was from you actually. You're at WrestleMania, and you sent me a video, and the video was, it was, "Hey Vinny, guess where we are? We're at WrestleMania." And then the whole, of the whole crowd, and I watched that, and honestly, I teared up.
Hello and welcome everybody, episode 8 of That Sweet Pop. My name is Dion and he is Brad Lewis. And Brad, I've gotten you out of your deathbed.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's been a hard few days, Dion, but started to turn the corner yesterday, and I would like to thank you for being so flexible with this record. But yeah, the man flu is well and truly behind me, so let's move on. And I was able to catch some wrestling, which was very, very important. At 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
Oh, good man. Yeah, so we're going to recap Crown Jewel today. Later on in the show, we've got our interview with Tahi, Vinny Dunn, who is about to be inducted into the New Zealand Hall of Fame. But first, let's get to that top story and our Crown Jewel review. Crown Jewel, 1 p.m., 1 a.m. Ugh, I wish it was 1 p.m. 1 a.m. You stayed up?
I stayed up, Dion. So I was feeling really under the weather, so could not sleep anyway. I try to have a rest in the afternoon, sort of around 7 or 8 o'clock, or like early evening. Just lied in bed for about 4 hours, couldn't really get to sleep, and then got up at 1, decided to watch it, and was glued to the screen. Started falling asleep at the back end of the main event, but managed to stay open to it, awake, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's probably a top 2 or 3 event of the year for WWE, and it's probably a top 5 event across the board of PLEs and pay-per-views this year across the main 2 companies. Dion, I didn't think there were any misses, really, at all.
Yeah, completely solid show. I tell you what was the miss was that US national anthem at the top of the show.
Oh, what are you doing,
the crowd was feral. Yeah, it was very interesting to see, and not a surprise. And it's not the first time that we've seen that. I'm very happy that we did hear Advance Australia Fair, and hearing the patriotism of that Perth live crowd singing along with the anthem was bloody great.
Can I ask you a question, Dion?
Of course.
Because you normally ask me a lot of questions. Have you ever seen a crowd that was wearing as much merch for one person than that crowd? I mean, not even in the Attitude Era were there that many Austin 316 shirts as the amount of gold and green, Wallaby green and gold that we saw on the weekend. And I think that's tremendous. Can you imagine the merch money that weekend of pro wrestling would have pushed? Insane.
Yeah, well, you're dead right. It was a sea of yellow. And I think WWE fans are very well known. I can tell you this from chats that I've had when I was working with WWE, with partners. They are astounded at how passionate and engaged and willing to part with their cash wrestling fans are. You go to a WWE show and 80% at least of people are wearing a wrestling shirt, but you're quite right. I've never seen anything like that. And hats off to the WWE merch team to leverage the green and gold. And what's different here, of course, is it is John Cena's last match. There's a lot of nostalgia around this run. I think people want to feel a part of it, and that was a great way to do it. And we'll get to Cena versus Styles. That crowd, though, was hot, and I think our cousins across the ditch, they really stood up and were counted. They were as hot as any European crowd we've seen, and the show kicked off with Bronson Reed defeating Roman Reigns in an Australian street fight. Now, little did I know the difference between an Australian street fight and, say, a Chicago street fight is a cricket bat and an AFL ball, or as Michael Cole would call it, how would he know? A rugby ball. How would he know? What I also didn't know was how good Roman Reigns' straight drive was. Did you see that? High elbow.
Yeah, it was
nice high elbow.
It was high elbow. He's clearly been taking some Kane Williamson lessons. I love how Wade Barrett educated Michael Cole on the Steve Smith and Ricky Ponting references. But look, Great moment for Bronson Reed. The right person went over. Just one thing that's ground my gears in the last couple of days, well, in the last sort of 24 hours, Dion, is people talking about how they buried Roman. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, social media? Like, this is a win that the Vision in particular and Bronson Reed needed. And as Michael Cole sold, Bronson Reed is just the second person in a one-on-one match to pin Roman since
Incredible
before
stat.
COVID. Since before COVID, right? Since before the Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns linkage. And that person was Bronson Reed. Cody Rhodes the other. Big moment for Bronson Reed, and the Vision needed this. And I think Roman needed it, and we're intertwining the bloodline back into this, and there's some really interesting stuff going on there that we can talk about at another time. But from a match perspective, I think it did what it needed to do. Was it the greatest no-holds-barred match of all time, Dion? No, it wasn't. But it was everything it needed to be. The right guy went over. Roman was protected big time in the finish. Absolutely big time. He got speared by Braun Breaker. He got speared through a table by his cousin. He got he got tsunami'd, the most over finishing maneuver in WWE. So great booking. I thought the match was well put together. It wasn't the greatest violent match we've ever seen, but it did what it needed to do. Loved it. Your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it, actually. I'm not a huge fan of last man standing, no rules street fight kind of matches. They certainly have a place in storyline. I thought, though, that this was fantastic for Bronson Reed. As you said, to be one of few to have pinned Roman in the past few years, that is absolutely huge. And for him to be able to get that win in front of his hometown, that must have been his home country. That must have been a really special moment for him. I did get the feeling throughout the match, though, that we need more Roman Reigns at the top of the top of the card.
He brings aura to the card, Dion.
That was the word I was going to use, the aura about the man. He is a genuine superstar. I don't feel he's wasted opening up these shows. And look, let's be honest, that 1,316-day reign had to end at WrestleMania 40. It was absolutely the right call. That was the greatest moment that I've ever been involved in at a live professional wrestling event to witness
jealous.
that. But I would really like to see Roman back to the top of the card. I know he's only ever going to be a part-time champ
It's
at
coming.
best. But I feel that it's he just elevates the game so much. You're right, it's aura. He's got an aura about him.
And look, I think I saw a stat where people are talking about how Roman's part-time, but I think this was the 11th or 12th WWE major event, including Saturday night's main event of the year, and he's been on 8 of them. So he does his 1 month hiatus, goes to film a movie, whatever he does, and then comes back and has a 2-week run on Raw, and then we see him on the PLEs or the Saturday night's main event, which is crucial. And I do think as we are now officially in WrestleMania season, as we build towards Survivor Series, Roman needs to be around a lot more than not. I am a bit worried by the post-match, Dion, where he said, "I don't want to see you guys again until Christmas." That worries me that maybe Roman will not be at War Games. And I think if Brock Lesnar's involved in War Games, they potentially are trying to keep those two away from each other, which makes sense. But I think Survivor Series would suffer immensely if Roman's not involved some way or another within that War Games match. But I do all I can do is I can look at what WWE is giving me as a product, and I can see where I think the storylines are going. And when he is sitting on the ring quite comically talking to his cousins and says, I love you both, but I don't want to see you till Christmas. That worries me that Roman's done now for 2025, which I think kind of sucks.
Yeah. And Braun Breaker certainly made his presence felt. I think if they play their cards right, Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns, that's a match I could really get behind. It's a match I could even see taking place at WrestleMania. I don't think it will, but there's definitely that potential there. Fantastic match. What a way to kick off the show. Match 2 was our first Crown Jewel Championship match. The women did not disappoint. Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton. This was a great fast-paced match. That they really put it all on the line on this one. A huge moment for Vaquer. We talked about it last week. We were a little bit unsure which way it was going to go. I'm glad she got the W. I'm really glad she got the W. That is clearly solidifying what WWE think of this woman. We're not surprised that they think very highly of her. She's at the cusp of a real big career.
And Tiff is very protected. I talked about this last week, which is why I couldn't see Stephanie winning because of how protected Tiffany Stratton's been. And look, you're right. Again, this was not a match that I'll probably go back and watch. It wasn't Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, but you're right. It was fast paced. It's what it needed to be. And when you're in a match that didn't have, let's be honest, a lot of story was dedicated. Not a lot of story was dedicated to this moving in. It was just a couple of exchanges, and I guess with Stephanie's language barrier, that's going to happen. But look, I think she elevated Tiff in this match. She certainly made Tiff look like $1 million. And the finish was clean. It was a good, clean match. The right person went over. I was surprised with the result. I thought there would have been some skullduggery involved, or Tiffany might have got some sort of quick fluke pin, or maybe Nia had got involved, or Jade, or whatever. But happy that they kept all the skullduggery and shenanigans out of it. And a clean win for Steph is exactly what she needed. And it looks like maybe we're heading towards Stephanie and Julia. At the back end of the year. I don't know, like maybe Jade is involved in that as well. They're certainly involving Julia and Stephanie, which can only mean good things for us as fans. But yeah, the right person went over.
Yeah, and the Devil's Kiss has to be the most over non-finisher in professional wrestling today. So I'm going to keep count on this one.
Is that a concern?
No. Why would it be a concern?
Like,
talk me through that.
It's obviously got it's more of a move than like the spinneroonie or the five knuckle. You know, I guess it's a more devastating move than the five knuckle shuffle. But she's such an amazing wrestler and her finishing maneuver, that the spinal tap off the top rope, is so sick and beautifully executed.
Yeah, it's great.
I just worry that it kind of gimmicks her a little bit. But look, that's just me being really, really picky. I love everything she does. And that move is so over at the moment, but I don't want that to take away from the bell-to-bell action that we see from her as well.
Yeah, that's fair, but I guess, Randy Orton's got the second rope DDT. Yeah, sure. There was the spinneroonie from Booker T. There's 100 of these moves that become such a big part of the tool set. And I think the good thing for her is it's part of the match that is so looked forward to by fans that it's a great way to draw heat. Someone's going for the Devil's Kiss, and for whatever reason it gets reversed, or there's some interference from the outside. Heat magnet. Yep. So I'm keeping count. Last week I said La Primera. You said Tiffany. Stephanie won. I'm up 1-0, but we've also got a shenanigans count, because we were pretty sure there's going to be a lot of shenanigans on this show. Shenanigans count is 0 currently.
Yeah,
0. John Cena versus AJ Styles. Surprised it didn't end the show, but what an incredible match. This was so special. We really watched history at Crown Jewel, and I hope everyone that was watching was able to realize that in the moment. I certainly did. I was able to sit there and truly be a fan, absorb it, and realize that we're watching the career of two of the greats come to a close. First of all, both of these men are 48 years of age and in tremendous shape, unbelievable shape. And second of all, man, did we waste some time on this heel turn? Did we waste some time?
Dion, my mind is going 1,000 miles an hour while you're talking about that. And look, there is this narrative out there that the retirement tour has been fumbled a little bit. And look, I think from a storyline perspective, from February through to August, yes, it was. But outside of the Cody match at Mania, which was poorly booked and just didn't connect, and I guess the squash with Brock, which again told a story that I think we're going to hear more about, not just through to John Cena's retirement, but post that with Brock Lesnar as well. His matches have been amazing. The Randy Orton match at Backlash was freaking insane and has been forgotten about. The CM Punk match in Saudi Arabia, very, very good. The Cody match at SummerSlam, one of the best matches I've seen this year. The Logan Paul match was sensational. The tag match that he had, where it was him and Logan versus Cody and Randy, I believe, was an outstanding. Oh no, it was. Was it Randy? I can't even remember who it was. It doesn't really matter. That was a good match. And his Sami Zayn match, amazing. And this match, amazing. What an amazing match. And the callbacks, just as a wrestling fan of the last 30 years of my life, 35 years of my life, Dion. Just everything about that match was everything I've ever wanted in a pro wrestling match. And AJ calling out Samoa Joe and Sting and Christopher Daniels, and wearing the old school TNA gear that he wore at Slammiversary in 2003, Dion, or 2004. Just awesome. Can't wait for that attire to be uploaded to WWE 2K25 and give him a go. But look, John is just getting better and better, and it actually makes me sad. It makes me sad because he's got 3 matches left, or 4. So Survivor Series, the last Saturday night's main event, and potentially a couple of Raws in between. I'd imagine he'll be in the ring because he's getting better and better. From an in-ring perspective, so much fun. But I think it's because he's wrestling with an end date and he's not holding back.
Yeah.
But this is one of the matches of the year for me. It was perfection. It was 5 stars. It was 7 stars. It was 10 stars. It was however many stars you want to give it. The crowd was into it. And I was just at 2:30 in the morning or whatever time it was, despite the fact I was feeling like I was dying. I just watched that match for 25 minutes with a massive smile on my face, Dion.
Yeah, and I think things are getting real now. I'm becoming more and more aware of what a gift we have in knowing the end date, and to have the opportunity to watch one of the greats, knowing that there's 12, 10, 8, 6, 4 matches left. A real gift. A lot of people thought the match was a little bit too gimmicky with all of the callbacks, but I mean,
you people suck.
Again, this is all about nostalgia. This is a farewell tour. We saw the Miz's.
You don't like fun.
The Miz's skull crushing finale, the Walls of Jericho,
the Big Show choke slam, the Undertaker tombstone, the Accolade.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
It actually had me wondering who's left that he hasn't sort of dedicated anything to, and that he's wrestled in. He hasn't done an F5 yet. There's
been no rock bottoms or a Stone Cold Stunner.
No, he almost pulled out a rock bottom, but yeah, I think did he ever wrestle Stone Cold? I don't think he did, but there's not a lot of guys left. Maybe a Sheamus Bro kick at some point will come out. But yeah, for anyone that thinks that match was too gimmicky, you don't like fun and you suck. That's just my opinion.
Well, I picked Cena, you picked Cena. I'm up 2-1. Shenanigans count
0.
No Brock Lesnar.
Because you can't get shenanigans in a no DQ match. Let's just because there was a little bit of shenanigans in the opening match, but very tiny.
That's fair, but we're still at 0.
Yes.
Yes. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky.
And by the way, I told you Brock Lesnar would not be coming out for this match.
You did.
So that kind of makes it 1-1.
What kind of? But to be fair, my crystal ball is out of batteries. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against the Kabuki Warriors. Man, this show just kept delivering. And also for Rhea Ripley, much like Bronson Reed, what a moment it must be every time this young girl from South Australia comes back home, and she's living her dream, and she gets to share it with her fellow countrymen and countrywomen. There were a few sequences in this match between Io and Asuka that made me think, I want to see these two on the big stage at WrestleMania with a championship on the line. They were outstanding. This match was great. I don't know what to say about it. It was an enjoyable tag team match. I'm surprised Shenanigans count is still 0, but great tag match.
I got the feeling that Asuka has been hearing all this. Io Sky is the best in-ring performer in the world, and she was like, "Can you please hold my beer?" All right, because oh my goodness, you're right, mate. I'm getting goosebumps. You talking about that? The exchanges between Io and Asuka. Please take my money. Let's just please have a blood feud between these two with Kairi as the pawn. I'm totally down with it, and I think that the VIP of the evening across the entire show was Asuka. She was magnificent. Her facial expressions, her selling, her offense, her defense, the stuff with Kairi, just everything that was involved around her. She was the standout performer of Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia. And hopefully this is the start of the next part of her career, because we know how amazing she is. We know how much Triple H invests in her and how much he believes in her. We've seen that through NXT. Man, just I was blown away by this match. And I don't know about you, Dan, and look, recency bias is a thing. but this may have been the best women's tag team match I've ever seen. Like I struggle to think of a better story, a better finish, better wrestling from bell to bell. This was the best women's tag team match I have ever seen.
Yeah, well, you've got 4 of the best in there, and it's all good and well to have 4 tremendous wrestlers, but if there's no chemistry, a tag match is very difficult to pull off. They got chemistry. They are slick. They are clean with all the moves. Yeah, I find it difficult to disagree with you. I'm sure if we really racked our brains, something might come up, but nothing's coming up.
How good is women's wrestling, Dion? And how much of a brain, you know what, is it for WWE Creative right now to figure out who is going to be involved in their championship matches in about 6 months' time at WrestleMania when you have, and Liv Morgan's not even on the show at the moment. And can you imagine the pop that she's going to get when she comes back?
Bianca's out, Naomi's out.
Correct. Bianca Belair is not wrestling at the moment. And I know she's the favorite to win the Women's Royal Rumble, and that very, very may well happen. But man, I am so excited for the next sort of 5-6 months to see where this all plays out for WrestleMania, and who holds the titles going into Mania. Please God, let them elevate these women's mid-card titles, have Becky hold that Intercontinental title through to Mania, and then potentially have a big match at Mania with someone so that it becomes like almost a co-main event. Have Julia run through a whole bunch of people and promote that title, because you have a real opportunity, Dion, here with a couple of other potential sort of blood feuds, including Asuka and Io, which doesn't need a title, where you could have a Mania with 4 or 5 women's singles matches, which is what they deserve. And that's half the card, right? So you have 6 matches, 7 matches across both nights. Like, let's have 6 women's matches because they deserve it, because they have kept WWE on above the C grade line for the majority of 2025, and that's been women's pro wrestling.
Yeah, what a great problem for them to have, though, right? Incredible problem for them to have. All right, well, I picked the Kabuki Warriors. I was wrong. You picked Rhea and Io. You were right. We're locked up at 2-2. Shenanigans count is 0, which takes us to the main event.
This needs to become a thing. This needs to become a thing now. Every time we preview and review, it's about shenanigans.
It's always about shenanigans. But look, before we get into the main event, I think we've been conditioned in the last 2 years to expect shenanigans.
Yes.
Let's not dive too deep, but
Paul Levesque loves shenanigans.
There's been a lot of talk in the last week about a change in creative direction. Has this got something to do with it? Who knows? Maybe not. But look, main event time. Men's Crown Jewel Championship between the world champion Seth Rollins, the WWE champion. It's 2025, Dion.
Dion, come on.
Cody Rhodes. Again, did not disappoint.
No.
Real great match. The Rolex that Cody gifted Seth being used and coming into play in this one, I thought was a great touch. He deserved to get the W, Seth. We know he needed to get the W. Again, not much to say about this match except for tremendous main event, and not a weak link in this card.
I told you these guys have amazing chemistry, and it's been a long enough time for this to work. And look, it's very, very hard to get people excited for a match which really, at the end of the day, doesn't have a huge amount of stakes. I mean, at the end of the day, the Crown Jewel title is something that we're going to see again in 12 months' time. That's it. We're not going to see it again. And look, the stakes in this were basically for Seth's legacy and for his vision. So that was important. But man, the chemistry these two guys have in the ring is insane. You believe everything they do. You can feel that there's respect there, but there's also, I'm the guy, not you, bro. And and I think that respect is probably even behind the curtain as well, where there's a lot of respect there, but there's also probably some professional jealousy going either way. And look, Seth needed this. I'm glad that the victory was 95% clean. Yes, there was the referee turn and the watch, but that played into the storyline. It didn't need Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, or as been rumored in the last week, Austin Theory to plant their heads in this match. The result was perfect, and Cody didn't need the win. He's beaten everybody. Didn't need the win. Seth did. and it legitimizes his title as well, the World Heavyweight title, which he's done a big job to legitimize over the course of the last 2 years. Love the booking. And from a booking standpoint, they made the right decision at every point in this card, and I think they should be congratulated for that because they have not done that this year. And loved it. Loved Seth's gear. Thought Cody was outstanding. The finisher off the top rope was the crossroads off the top rope was insane. I've never seen that before.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
You didn't like it? I didn't like the kick out. So I think you saved that for a Cody win. Great point, Dion. You know what? Like, I love the move, but you're right. And we criticized AEW for the amount of finishes that they do in matches when people kick out, and Will Ospreay hits people with the most vicious looking stuff we've ever seen before, and guys kick out at one. I think you've hit the nail on the head. That may have been the one miss of the night, is that that move wasn't saved for a big Cody victory over whoever.
Yeah, that's you potentially kick out of that at WrestleMania, but you probably win the main event of WrestleMania with it. But you know that's getting a bit picky again. It was a great match. I picked Rollins. You picked Rollins. We're tied up at 3-3. And Rolex aside, I'm not going to count that as shenanigans. Do you think it's shenanigans?
No, it's not, because there was no outside shenanigans. It was protecting Cody at the same time. It was saying Seth just needed that little edge, that very minuscule percentage to get the job done. And can you imagine on Tuesday on New Zealand time on Monday Night Raw when he comes out in the promo? Really interested to see who is going to be opposing him in said promo. The rumor is that Punk and Seth are going to continue their feud through the back end of the year, potentially at Survivor Series. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, War Games comes into this as well. I'm just really excited. It's a great time of the year. WWE just put on their best card in forever. I'm really happy with the direction they're going in. They just need to stay consistent. Really important now that they stay consistent.
Yeah, shenanigans-free show. I do like the touch of Triple H doing a Dana White and coming in and delivering the belts. It did get me thinking, though, especially given the fact that we've got an apparent creative direction change, because let's face it, Brad, things have been a bit boring. It's been very same for the last 6 months or more.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a bit of a terrible. Change. But it's just not been good. Does that make sense? Like, a few things aside, like a few things aside, there's been good bits, right? Like, I actually really enjoyed what they've done with Carmelo and Miz, right? I love what Sammy's done with the Open Challenge, and most of John Cena's matches have been great. But and there's been a few good things around women's wrestling as well. But it just hasn't been good, but it hasn't been terrible. But we just want it to be good.
Here's the barometer for me. What's the one thing that you're tuning into? What's the one storyline that you can't wait for the next little piece of the puzzle to fall into place? I don't believe there's been one, not since the Bloodline, at least. And again, I think we're victims of how good that was. But I think there's better creative to come. And part of that could be what popped into my head, which was, when will we see Triple H involved in storyline as a corrupt authority figure? It's got to happen at some stage. It's a tale as old as time. It's been done to death, but it's so good. And I think he'd do a tremendous job at it. I don't know, watch this space. Maybe that's something we'll see in the next 6 months, 2-3 years.
Would you still include Pierce and Aldis in that? And because Nick Aldis has broken the mold of GMs, because everybody knows that if you F with Nick Aldis, he can F with you back, because he's not that long ago, he was the NWA heavyweight champion of the world, right? And I think he's changed the narrative of GMs in terms of they don't need to be vindictive. They just need to be fair, cool things down the middle. He's been fair to the baby faces. He's been fair to the heels. He's been pissed at the baby faces. He's been pissed at the heels. And I actually think that having a baby face commissioner with a heel authoritative figure could actually be a little bit different. So maybe you're right. Maybe if there's conflict there between Trips and Pierce and Trips and Aldis, it could actually become interesting television.
Yeah, they're great GMs. They're the two best GMs, if you want to include commissioners in that, that we've ever had. But the greatest heel authority figures are the ones where they have power. Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Triple H can fit into that mold. We'll see if that is to happen. Conversation for another day. But overall, Crown Jewel was exceptional. Like you, I think this is probably certainly in the top 3 pay-per-views in mainstream wrestling in the States this year.
Agreed.
Probably in the top two,
Yeah.
if not the top one for WWE this year. So very happy for our cousins across the ditch that they got to see that live. All right, after the break, I had an opportunity earlier in the week to speak with upcoming Hall of Famer, New Zealand wrestling royalty, Tahi Vinny Dunn. He's a 4-time New Zealand heavyweight champion and 21-year veteran of the business. He gained international experience touring the US with tag team partner Kingy and Gary O'Davis as part of the Iwi, working at OVW and more. He came to the ring boasting 100 kgs of muscle and 20 kgs of ego, and on November 1, adds Hall of Famer to his resume. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New Zealand pro wrestling royalty, Tahi Vinny Dunn. Welcome, Vinny. How you doing, man?
Kia ora, Dion McCracken. Thank you very much for having me. I always appreciate it.
How are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good.
Nice. Hey, I remember your debut at the Linfield Rec Centre against The Machine. Now, I had no idea who you were at the time, and little did I know, 20 years later, we'd be sitting here and talking to you as one of my best friends. It's funny how life works.
It is funny, yeah.
How did a boy from Hibiscus Coast end up in the squared circle for IPW?
Well, I actually started pro wrestling a little bit late. I was 24. Before that, I was into rugby league. And, I had a trial with the Warriors in 1998 and then 2004. And then I had to make a decision, really, what I wanted to do, which was either play professional league or pro wrestling. And I don't know, I chose pro wrestling.
And no regrets?
Someone asked me that the other day, and it's like, I might be a little bit better known in New Zealand, maybe, but I wouldn't change it for a thing. It was, I think when I was young, I think about 8 or 9, I watched, WWE, at the time WWF, and I was just captivated, just like absolutely mesmerized by the larger-than-life characters. And in my head, it was something I always wanted to do. And then, obviously, I got the chance, trial with IPW in 2004, November, I think it was, or October. And, yeah, it was, I basically, it's a bit of a funny story. I walked in to the IPW gym, and I walked straight in, I slid straight in the ring, and I jumped on the second rope and did the double bicep pose. And I tell you what, the amount of heat that I got, which I didn't even know, like, if someone did that now, jumped in and did what I did, they'd probably get a clip. So that's right. They let me slide, and I'm here today.
Well, you're a 4-time New Zealand heavyweight champion, so you must have done okay. What did holding the championship mean to you?
I in all honesty, being the champion or being ranked in the best wrestlers or all that kind of stuff, it's not really what it's about, but it is nice to be recognised that, when you are the New Zealand champion, you are the number one man in New Zealand. And obviously I know it takes two, it takes the whole card, it's obviously it's all work together, so, but every time I won the belt, it meant a lot to me. I think the first time I won the belt, December 2009, and I partied for a whole week. But it meant a lot. It's a cool feeling. It's just good to be recognised, and then you're the flag bearer of the company. Like I said, it's not the be all and end all, but it is very nice to be recognised as you're the number one man.
Now, IPW Rival Turf 2010. the Westlake screw job.
Oh,
There'll be a lot of
yeah.
people listening to this podcast right now who don't know anything about New Zealand wrestling. There'll be many who have followed IPW for quite some time that may not have heard of the Westlake screw job. And what a pivotal moment it was in your career, and Dal Knox's career, and my career. Tell us about that night. What went down?
Oh, it was a massive night. So basically, earlier in the night, I had a shot to win the New Zealand belt the second time against Ruben de Jong, the 6'10", 140 kilo monster. And I had pretty much, because it's Westlake, which is the North Shore, which is close to the Hibiscus Coast. And we had a packed house, and I had a lot of my coast friends there. And, you know, I won the belt earlier in the card. I beat the big monster, Ruben de Jong. And then, so, you know, I had my moment. And then later in the card, they had the rival turf match. And it was Team IPW versus Team Wellington Pro Wrestling. And basically, it was, I think it ended where it was 5 of them on one of our guys, and they're taking out all our other guys. And so I came out to make the save, and then they got a little on top of me because, you know, 5 on 1. And then bang, Dal Knox's music hits. The place went absolutely crazy. I remember
returning Dal Knox. A returning Dal Knox.
A returning Dal Knox, yeah. And he got popped out of the building. I was like, oh, here we go. And then he made the save, and then next minute I'm on the ground getting hit 10 to 12 times with the chair. And then basically 1, 2, 3, and we've got a new champion.
Yeah, the deal Dal Knox screwed you over. What a scallywag. Maybe someone got in his ear at that time.
I don't know. Who was that, Dion?
I have no idea, but I'm sure they given the opportunity to apologise.
That really set up some really good business. We really the thing is, there I was quite badly injured. I'd broken my tore my groin off my pubic bone and broke the bone. So I had to be I had about 6-7 months out. So they did that story. So I wasn't able to wrestle. So I just basically, for the next 6 to 7 months, I pretty much was at every show, obviously, but not wrestling, but chasing Dal Knox. And it all basically came to a conclusion at the Fans Bring the Weapons. And you know what happened in Fans Bring the Weapons.
I do. I want to talk about Fans Bring the Weapons. Again, there'll be some people that aren't familiar with this match in IPW. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's one of IPW's landmark matches where fans literally bring the weapons, whether it's a stop sign or a shopping trolley or a baguette, whatever it may be.
Yes.
And anything and everything in between. Now, you've been in more Fans Bring the Weapons matches than anyone, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So there's been 24 Fans Bring the Weapons matches, and I've been in 8.
Right. Well, what makes a good one? What makes a good Fans Bring the Weapons match? Do you have a favourite?
Ooh. What makes a good Fans Bring the Weapons is you need to make sure you use all the fans' weapons. Like that's the most important thing, because it's the one match that the fan is actually interacts the whole time in the match. And so, you know, when I used to do them, I used to try to make sure I'd use their weapon once or twice. And if I didn't use it twice, I'd whack whoever with it. I'd put it on the side of the ring, and I'd save it for later. So that my finish would be the muscle buster, and I would put all the weapons I'd used in the middle of the ring, and then hit the muscle buster. And so they felt like their weapons were used, you know, multiple times. So yeah, I would probably say it's very hard because I've actually had some really good matches. I'd probably say I've had 4 really good ones and 4 that were but
well, it's like picking your favorite sibling, I suppose, right? It's let me ask this instead. Are there, let's say, 3 matches in your career that really stand out as your favorites, whether their fans bring the weapons or not?
I would say my third favorite match would have been against Ruben, because probably it's up there because I was so badly injured. Like I said, I had a broken pubic bone. My groin was torn really, really badly. I strapped it up and I just went out there and I just pushed through the pain. And that's something, because to me, pro wrestling, people talk about it being real. Obviously, it's predetermined, we know that. But to me, it was very real. I gave up, professional rugby league contract to be a wrestler. So everything I did, I ate the same food for like 15 years straight. I wanted to look the best. I wanted to be the best. So everything I did. So, for me to go out there, a lot of people, my surgeon said that I was crazy. But to me, it was, I said to the fans I was going to be there. I was going, they wanted to see that match. And so I just went out there and did it. And, that, I don't know, it's just something about pushing through the pain to hit your goal or to please the fans. To me, it was something quite special. Me and Ruben, that was at Rival Turf. I'd say my second favourite match was the Deal Down Knox, Fans Bring the Weapons, our match that we had. There was so much story. Fans were so involved. That was a packed house at Westlake again. And to go in there after 7 months out injured and to be able to put on a 30-minute, good match. It was a great feeling, that one. And probably my favorite match, I probably would say one of my, it is. I'd say being on any match that I had on the Hibiscus Coast, because, I got to wrestle in my hometown, and every time we were there, we packed the place out. It was an honor to be able to wrestle in front of my hometown. I rep the Hibiscus Coast. I love the Hibiscus Coast. I'm a coastie. I was born and bred there. So to be able to I think we put 7 shows on. I got to defend the belt there. It was, I don't know. I just, any of my coast matches would be my favorites.
Hey, tell us about your stint in the US with Kingy and Mr. 100%. I know you've probably got a million stories, but I guess most importantly, how did it come about? And can you talk to us through some of the experience that you gained over there?
Yeah, sure. So basically, 2011, Kingy, which is one of my best mates, and Gary Davis, one of my other best mates, Bushwhacker Luke asked us to come over. We wanted to obviously go to America. We wanted to, try and see if we could make it and learn more. And so Bushwhacker Luke basically said to us, he said, guys, if you can get to LA, I promise I'll look after you guys. And we had nothing planned, like no matches planned, nothing. And we ended up basically, we got ourselves to LA. We were there for 2 days at a hotel in Venice Beach. And Bushwhacker calls, bang. And then we were over there for about 4 months. We had probably about 50 matches. Got to wrestle, trained with 6-time NWA champion Harley Race. That was a pretty cool experience. Got to wrestle all over the States with OVW, with Al Snow, Hustler Rick Rogers, and Danny Davis, who was the owner at the time. And that was such a great experience. It was real funny because they loved us when we were there. They're like, oh, where are you being trained? Where are you being trained? You guys are so good. You're so good. We're like, wow, okay. We've trained in New Zealand. But for me, going over, and working with the American guys and training under all these, top guys who made millions of dollars. For me, it was where the light bulb went off and everything started to make sense, psychology and, all the stuff that's pro wrestling. Like I was trained, I knew how to bump and, we knew how to put a match on, but we didn't really know why with everything. Or we were quite one-dimensional. And I found going over there, I had light bulbs going off, bang, bang. Oh, that's why we do this. That's, So it was a very good tour in the fact that it felt like everything just clicked. And then I understood it. So when I come back, it was like, wow, right, now I know what we're doing. So, yeah, it was a great trip.
Now, I want to talk about Get Mitchell to WrestleMania.
Oh.
Now, Mitchell Fowles, we've talked about a number of times on this show already. He's a wrestling mega fan who is living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I know this is not something that you necessarily like to talk about in terms of your role in it, but you were the driving force in getting Mitch to WrestleMania 35 in New York. At the time, I was working with WWE. We did what we could from that side of things, but it really required a big fundraising effort here in New Zealand. Why did it mean so much to you to get Mitchell to WrestleMania?
So Mitch was a fan from the start. I can't even remember when it was when I first met him. And I remember Jan, his mum, invited me to come round to his house. And this is before we did the fundraiser. And I went round to the house and I was moved by how hard life is for the Fells family. When you're able, like we are, you take for granted just being able to, scratch your face or move or turn over in bed, all that kind of stuff. And when I went over and I saw just how hard life can be, when you've got muscular dystrophy, I was very moved. And it takes a lot to move me. Like, so sometimes I'm a little bit, I'm not selfish, but, I live in my own world in a sense, and I went there and I was moved. And normally I talk and I just listened to them. And, going to WrestleMania, they talked about WrestleMania and how amazing that would be.
Mm.
And I thought in my head, I was like, you know what? I reckon we can get you there. Now, I've got to paint a picture on this. Like, we're not just getting Mitchell to WrestleMania. We had to get his mum and dad because Mitchell can't move. So there's no way we just put him on a plane and send him there. His mum and dad had to go. So the costs went up. We didn't know if he could fly that kind of distance. So we had to get specialists and stuff like that. And it, it is an undertaking to get someone that's, with his condition, over there and looked after. You need a special van that's got a crane to get him out because they don't just pick him up, put him in the van. He's got a crane on the back that lifts his wheelchair up, puts him in there, straps him down. So they needed a special vehicle for him, which cost money. They needed to stay at places that looked after, for disabled people. It was quite a mission. And so when we sat down and we thought it was going to be about $35,000 to $50,000 to get all three of them there and back. So, that's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, well, I'm going to ask them or Mitchell and the mum and dad if that's what they want. So I went around and I had a chat to them and said, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to get you guys to WrestleMania. And obviously they were like, wow, that's awesome. So then basically, I went to IPW and I asked them because I wanted to partner with them, and I said, "I'll drive this, and we'll give a little page." And I remember you helped me, mate. Very helpful because my
your IT skills aren't. They're not quite there. Is what you're trying to say.
I'm more of a talker. So yeah, I got help where I basically set up where I would fail or where I needed help in the areas to get him there. So we got ourselves a team, and then basically we just drove it. And in the end, we raised $40,000. And
hey, let me just pause you there for a minute, because it's been 6 years. You raised $40,000. That's insane.
Yeah.
40,000.
Yeah. It is insane, but it was quite weird because I wanted to raise 50. But so I was I wasn't disappointed. I was just like, I wanted 50. So then we could really, send him over there. But we raised $40,000 in 6 months, which I thought was amazing. But I look back at it, and I think, man, look, if I did it now, not that I'm going to do it now, but if I did it again, I reckon I could have doubled or tripled that money.
Wow.
And I just would have done it a little bit differently. But anyway, we basically, we got it. We got the money. I remember there's a couple of really cool moments. One of the cool moments was when I went down, because I went through Ottawa Travel, and they did everything. And I got the tickets, and me and Ottawa Travel gave it to them, to Mitchell and the family. I remember getting a photo, and I was like, it's like a boom. And then I was like, okay, well, now we've got to get him there, and hopefully nothing goes wrong or medical issues. You know what I mean? So, and then the next moment was, and it was from you actually. You're at WrestleMania, and you sent me a video, and the video was, it was, "Hey Vinny, guess where we are? We're at WrestleMania." And then the whole, of the whole crowd. And, I watched that, and honestly, I teared up, man. Like, I sat there and it was like, shit, I actually did something for somebody else. And you know what? It's that kind of, like, I had gave me the best feeling. Like, when you do something for someone else with a true intentions, like, there's nothing for it in me. Like, I didn't get to go. But to see that, and to see him have his bucket list dream ticked off. Oh man, I was there, and I was crying quite hard. It was a cool feeling, and that will be something that I'll always be proud of that we did, because it wasn't just me. Yes, I was at the front of it. I was the driving force, but you need someone at the front. But I had so much help at the back, and all the wrestlers, all the wrestling community, and that really helped. And that's why I always said, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. And it's something I'm very, very proud to say I've been part of. And it's one of the highlights of my wrestling career. And I love the Fells family. They're really cool people. So I was very happy to be able to make that, or help make that dream come true.
Hey Vinny, we're at WrestleMania! Yes, baby!
Hey guys, this is Gino Gambino, and you're listening to That Sweet Pop.
All right, welcome back. There he is, Tahi Vinny Dunn. That's an incredible story, isn't it, Brad? The Get Mitchell Fells to WrestleMania. And again, it blows me away all these years later to realize that Vinny was responsible for driving a fundraising effort of $40,000.
Yeah, and I was also at that Mania, spent some time with Mitch, very, very short amount of time with Mitch and his mum. And I know he listens to this show, and I know his mum's probably one of our number one fans. So to the Fowles family, you guys are awesome, awesome people. Mitch, you are an inspiration. And yeah, love you guys.
Hey, before we move on, I just wanted to quickly speak on Shinsuke Nakamura. How good seeing him show up for the Sami Zayn Open Challenge on SmackDown last week. He's one of these guys that to me never felt like he reached the potential we believed he had. Obviously a massive star in Japan, huge star in NXT, probably one of the greatest entrances in NXT history. Yes, he won the Royal Rumble in 2018. Yes, he main evented WrestleMania 34, or at least challenged for the WWE Championship. Last few years have not been kind to Shinsuke Nakamura. I think he brings such a unique presentation, and he is such an incredible talent that there is space for this man in the mid to top of this card. I really hope this is the start of something special for Shinsuke.
Me too. Love that he came out with his old music. In fact, that seems to be something that WWE may be implementing more, is bringing back old music. So can I just shout out to WWE and say, please bring back Broken Dreams for Drew McIntyre. It is the greatest entrance music in the history of pro wrestling.
Wow, that is a big call.
Probably doesn't fit his heel character so much because the crowd would sing. But if you want a crowd to sing along to a song, Broken Dreams is the song. So that's just a personal preference. But love the fact they brought him back with his old music and his NXT-ish character. Didn't really enjoy his work as the evil samurai Japanese painted warrior. Shinsuke Nakamura, they tried something different, but Shinsuke Nakamura, much like Io Sky or Asuka, gets over because of his bell-to-bell work. Just put the dude in bangers. Let him wrestle. And man, let him wrestle like Penta. Oh my God, that's just made me so excited.
What
or
a great
Ray Phoenix or Javon Evans or someone like that. And man, you know who Shinsuke should be, Dion? He needs to be a guy who doesn't have a brand. So he shows up on NXT. He shows up on TNA. He shows up on AAA. He shows up on Raw. He shows up on SmackDown. He's like a free agent who just wrestles bangers. And that's all Shinsuke needs to do. And look, he's closer to the end than the beginning, but the guy can go. So I just want to see Shinsuke wrestle. I don't necessarily care if he's involved in storylines. I just want to enjoy Shinsuke Nakamura matches. And that match, Dion, was sick.
And what a great t-shirt idea you just had. Put him in bangers.
Yes.
Put him in bangers. I too have a good idea.
Yes.
Who am I?
Oh. Can I keep the streak?
My early life was pretty wild, getting in trouble with the law and serving time in prison before eventually getting on the straight and narrow.
Booker T.
I knew you were going to go Booker T. It's not Booker T.
Damn it.
I turned things around and became a world-class powerlifter and strongman. In the late 1990s, I transitioned into professional wrestling, quickly becoming one of the biggest attractions on my local circuit before catching the eye of WWE.
Mark Henry?
Not Mark Henry. I debuted in WWE in the early 2000s, and one of my biggest moments came when I lent an assist to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 19. This helped keep the streak alive. Despite the hype around me, my WWE stint was short-lived. Later, I made a successful
Nathan Jones.
There he is. I am Nathan Jones.
Who also had great entrance music in the 3 minutes that he was involved in WWE. But yeah, where was he billed from again? I can't remember.
The Boggo Road. The
Boggo Road, which is a badass place to be billed from.
The Colossus of Boggo Road. That's what he was. And that was the prison. I think it was Boggo Road prison. I don't know what he served time for, but yeah, former. By the way, I thought we'd do a shout out to our Aussie brethren, given Crown Jewel. So otherwise, Nathan Jones probably would not have made it a Who Am I, with all respect, Nathan. Former WWA World Heavyweight Championship. He defeated Scott Steiner in a tournament in Melbourne in 2002, I believe. Caught the eye of WWE. Why not? He's a big man. I did watch that WrestleMania 19 match recently, and he is a tremendously big individual. They don't make human beings
I think
like
it was, right? Spinning sidekick. Look, he then disappeared for about a year and then was involved with Matt Morgan in sort of a Kurt Angle faction or a Paul Heyman sort of Paul Heyman guys type faction when Angle and Heyman were together. And I actually really enjoyed him and Morgan together. They were only together for a cup of coffee, but they looked real badass. And like I said, he had awesome entrance music. Maybe wrestled at Survivor Series in either 04 or 03. I can't quite remember, but they had something going with him. But the backstage reports at the time was that he just wasn't invested in being a pro wrestler, and like as invested as he should have been. But had a great look. But yeah, was probably never going to be much more than what he did become.
Yeah. I mean, all height, lots of muscles, no charisma doesn't generally work for terribly long.
Yeah.
AKA Zeus.
Hulk Hogan. Beefcake
Hey,
Baba.
Oh my goodness.
That needs to be a Who Am I at some point.
Zeus?
Yeah.
I'll do it next week.
Okay.
All right, so we've got to give away a Tu Meke Trophy, and we had a bit of a chat about this one. It seems like there's only one real person that this could go to this week, and that is Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree, this match with Becky Lynch on Raw was outstanding. She was so good, and I'm thrilled for her that look, obviously she very much cares about this business. She very much cares about improving herself. We've seen her working at the Heart Dungeon as of late. The fruits of that labor really came off in that match against Becky Lynch. Yes, Becky could probably have a fantastic match with a can of Coke, but the fact that Maxine Dupree was able to hang and be able to impress the live crowd and those of us watching on television around the world really goes a long way to showing how well she's doing. I'm hopeful that she's going to become a real success story in WWE. You think of the likes of Trish Stratus as a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Trish was not a wrestler coming in. She wasn't working the indies for 10 years before she was signed. She had a tremendous look.
She was a fitness model.
She was a fitness model. She had a great body and a pretty face, but no arm drag. But eventually, by God, did she. So I'm hoping Maxine Dupree is going to be much of that ilk. I guess time will tell.
And just a bouquet to Becky for giving what she gave Maxine in that match as well. And you can tell Becky's a fan of Maxine. She's always, sort of trying to bring her into stuff through backstage segments and what have you. I would just like to see her separate from Tozawa and the whole Otis sort of thing. Just draft her to a different show. Maybe chuck her in NXT, give her a heel run, just see how she goes under the tutelage of Shawn Michaels. Doesn't have to be on the main roster, but you're right. Best match of her career on a banging Raw. And let's just say the TV this week has been sensational for Raw and SmackDown and NXT, all really, really good shows, which is encouraging. So even Dynamite was really good, actually. So give her an opportunity to shine. And see if she can shine without arguably one of the best ring workers of all time in the ring with her. But I mean, she deserves massive props. Hell of a match, and got the massive rub with the count out win, and sets up a rematch. I'd imagine in either this week or next.
Yeah. So Maxine Dupree, we have got a close eye on you. We're in your corner, and I can't wait to see where this goes with her. Now we need to take a look at what's coming up in the world of professional wrestling.
Absolutely, Dion. There is a bit about Aotearoa Showdown on Saturday, November the 8th at the Four Winds Theatre, it's the Dewdrop Events Centre, which I'm sure you know pretty well. And there's is it King of Kiwis tournament, Dion?
Yeah, King of Kiwis tournament. I think there's a few of the quarterfinal matches have been announced already. Aotearoa Wrestling do a great job on social, so make sure you follow them, check it out, and find where to get these tickets and what the matchups are.
Absolutely. And you can get tickets as well for Impact Pro Wrestling's Necessary Evil, which is Saturday, November 1 at Freeman's Bay Community Centre. I believe it's Xander Taylor and Jay Rilla in the main event, if I'm not mistaken, which is it's at least for the title, which would be interesting. Love Xander, love what he brings. I think that young boy, let's be honest, he's a young boy, has and his slogan's limitless, right? Has limitless potential.
Yeah.
So that's November 1. And I like when they're at Freeman's Bay. I think they go there once a year, Dion. I actually really enjoy that location. It's a little bit bigger. And if memory serves, maybe 2 years ago, massive crowd at Freeman's Bay when they had that 4-on-4 match between Control and all the baby faces, the top baby faces. And I don't know if people know this, but several members of City Kickboxing showed up to that event. I think Israel Adesanya and Nyreen Crowley were standing in the back, and I don't think a lot of people saw them, but because they train just around the corner. So yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, also at that show, we've got Mighty Maya. She's going to be defending her New Zealand Women's Championship against Candy Lee. And as we discussed earlier, Tahi Vinny Dunn being inducted into the New Zealand Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'll be hosting that induction and very much looking forward to it.
Can I ask you a question, Dion, before we wrap?
Mm-hmm.
Hosting that as Dion McCracken or in character?
Oh, as Dion McCracken, yeah. I mean, it'd be a bit weird coming out and trying to
Be
generate
funny.
heat.
I bet you will, though. You're going to get booed out of the building, mate.
I generally
there.
get booed for these.
I'm booing
things.
you so hard. Yeah,
and I'm like, it's me. Happen. It's just me. I'm not the other guy. It's me. It's Dion. I'm a nice guy.
You are.
All right, folks, if you want to find out if we actually are nice guys, please head along to our website, www.thatsweetpop.com. You'll find a bit of info about Brad and myself. You can join us every week. The podcast drops Mondays at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube. Please give us a like and a subscribe. Or you can listen while you're in the car, going for a run, or generally on the go on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please also follow us on our socials, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, Brad, I don't know about you, but it is Monday as we film this. I'm still catching up on sleep. It was a tremendous week of wrestling action, as you pointed out. Hopefully you're dropping all the Panadols, you're mainlining them, and you'll be fit and raring to go next week. Well done. You got through the show.
Absolutely, and there'll be lots to talk about next week as well. Bound for Glory TNA currently happening as we speak, so we'll be able to review that. And let's just hope WWE can continue their momentum and AEW can start to build theirs.
Yeah, and once again, if you've made it to the very end, folks, we really appreciate you spending your time with us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, have a good one.
Ka kite.